In every quiet neighborhood, there's an unspoken agreement: respect, space, and a little kindness go a long way. But what happens when one person decides the rules don't apply to them and tries to make their own? This is the story of how one woman's obsession with control turned a peaceful street into a battleground, and how a quiet neighbor fought back, not with anger, but with patience, proof, and just the right touch of justice. My name is Reed Mallory, and I live in Evergrove, Oregon, just outside the invisible line that separates the Homeowners Association from the rest of us. For years, that line meant peace. Trees rustled, kids biked freely, and neighbors waved without agendas. But peace doesn't last forever, not when someone like Karen Delaney moves in. Karen arrived on a rainy Tuesday in March, her Lexus gliding into the cul-de-sac like a queen's carriage. She wore oversized sunglasses, even in the gloom, and barked orders at the movers like she owned the block. No one thought much of it. Every neighborhood has a character, right? But by the end of her first week, she'd introduced herself with flyers about community beautification standards, and passive-aggressive notes slipped into mailboxes. That was just the opening act. The real trouble began at 7 a.m. one Sunday. A pounding at my door jolted me awake. I opened it in a panic, heart racing. Karen stood there, phone raised, already recording. She pointed to my parked sedan and declared I was visibly lowering property values because my car was technically in view from inside the HOA zone. She wasn't on the board. She wasn't even respected by it. But she had a clipboard, a smartphone, and a voice that could cut glass. At first, I laughed it off. Surely this was a phase. But over the next few weeks, the harassment escalated like a slow-motion car crash I couldn't avoid. Fake parking citations appeared under my windshield wipers, printed with what looked like city seals, until I held one up to the light and saw the Clip R watermark. Doorbell rings came late at night. Sometimes no one on the porch at all, at least once. She blasted opera music toward my house at full volume, claiming Bach improves neighborly behavior. The hypocrisy. Unbearable. Her own car, the pristine white Lexus, was routinely parked across a bright red fire lane at the end of the street, installed after 2 fires in 5 years had claimed homes nearby. I mentioned it once. Gently. She waved me off. Nothing ever happens here. Besides, everyone does it. I started documenting everything. I wasn't looking for revenge. I just wanted protection. Photos, videos, dated notes. I became quietly methodical, even while pretending not to notice her. But when she taped a laminated notice on my garage, threatening fines over my paint color, I knew it was time. I submitted the evidence to Evergrove Code Enforcement, not anonymously. That part matters. 2 weeks later, a city official knocked on her door. Then came the citations, 14 counts of fire lane violations, impersonation of city authority, public nuisance reports from 4 other neighbors. Still, she didn't back down. In fact, she doubled down. Her next move was straight from a satire. She arrived with 2 men in landscaping uniforms, claiming they were conducting a compliance inspection, clipboard in hand. She pointed at my trees. These disrupt the visual harmony guidelines. I asked, calmly, what guidelines? The HOA's. I'm not in the HOA. She blinked. The landscapers looked at each other, then at me. I showed them my property line on the county website. They left. She stayed behind, fuming. The next day, her Lexus was towed. She shrieked at the tow driver, who didn't flinch. Take it up with the city. She filed a police report against me for surveillance and harassment. When officers arrived, I invited them in, showed them my notes, security footage, and the official complaint I'd filed weeks prior. One of them chuckled as they left. Well documented. Mr. Mallory. But Karen wasn't done. She launched a full-blown smear campaign in a local Facebook group, claimed I was targeting women, that I was a domestic terrorist armed with doorbell cams. The post exploded with comments, but not the kind she wanted. Is this the same lady who called 911 over sidewalk chalk? Didn't she yell at my kid for using a scooter? It wasn't vindication I felt. It was sadness. Somewhere deep in Karen's fortress of control was a person who had completely lost touch. Maybe loneliness had twisted into delusion. Maybe the power she never had in life was something she tried to manufacture with clipboards and threats. The city issued a cease and desist. More fines followed. Her once manicured garden wilted. Shutters stayed closed. And one morning, a for sale sign appeared on her lawn. But in a final act of desperation, she had a fake legal firm serve me a cease and desist letter. It had spelling errors. The letterhead logo was lifted from a Google image search I checked. I dropped it off at the city attorney's office. He read it, sighed, and said, "We're done being patient." She was cited again, this time formally. Over $2,000 in fines, and a permanent note added to her public record for impersonation and false reporting. That weekend, she hosted a yard sale, notebooks, wine glasses, a framed print that said, "My house, my rules." Neighbors came, but mostly to watch. No one said much. There was a strange, still dignity in the way the neighborhood chose silence over celebration. By Monday, she was gone. And just like that, the street exhaled. The kids biked again. Someone baked cookies and left them in my mailbox. The red curb where Karen used to park got a small, handmade plaque, put up as a joke. Karen's lane towed twice. Never forgotten. Sometimes I walk past it and smile, not out of spite, but out of quiet gratitude, that the rules we all live by still mean something. That dignity still matters. That peace, once lost, can be reclaimed by community, by truth, and sometimes by a very well-timed tow truck. I didn't want war. I just wanted peace. But if peace must be earned by standing firm against injustice, then so be it. Let the plaque stand as a reminder, not of Karen, but of how close chaos can live to order, and how important it is to protect what makes us neighbors.